Today, in this latest round of congressional maps on steroids, we're going to take a look at the Florida map. Now, it hasn't been signed into law just yet as of the time I'm making this video, and there's still going to be some legal questions and who's going to run in which district. So we'll take a quick stroll through this new map, but obviously if it goes into effect, Republicans are going to make some gains here. So the Florida legislature has passed this new map. It's going to go to DeSantis. And before we get to the new map, let's quickly take a look at the current map. Now, we've got 28 districts here. Republicans control 20 of them. So already a lopsided map, and we've come a long way since the days of DeSantis vetoing the original congressional map from the state legislature so he could get this map. But now we're going to go way beyond this as Florida gets in on the current redistricting battle. The entire state hasn't undergone a dramatic overhaul, but most of the more dramatic changes are going to be centered around St. Petersburg and Tampa. You've got the inset map right here, and then down along the Atlantic coast here near Miami. So we'll get into the fairness in just a minute, but let's take a look at the new map. Here it is on Dave's Redistricting. And you see a lot of red on here. That's because there's only 4 blue seats out of 28. It's going to be the one around Orlando here, and then the other 3 are in the southeast. No longer is there a district here around Tampa. That's been split up. We could come over here and toggle the precinct level data. If we zoom in here we've got the blue vote for St. Petersburg. Here's Tampa. Before this 14th district, that was blue leaning. Now if you toggle this, you can see the blue vote has been cracked into put into some of the surrounding districts. It's going to dilute the blue vote and give Republicans another seat here. You could do the same thing along the coast in the southeast. A lot of blue vote here, but take a look at this. This 25th district right here, this is now going to be a red-leaning district. If we go in real close on that vote, you've still got several blue districts with the vote packed in. But now this has really been drawn to maximize Republicans gaining some more seats here. And of course, remember the 24 election, a lot of swing to the right here. Trump actually won Miami-Dade County. The Hispanic vote got way redder here. So if you go back out to the entire map, you could toggle this to see how partisan each district is as a whole. You could hover over this and then look over here on the right. This uses the 2024 presidential data. And there's not a lot of districts here that are going to be super red anymore. Republicans there had to dilute their own vote to capture enough of that blue vote to gain some more districts. So a lot of these might only be around the 10 to 15 point range for the Republicans instead of 20 to 25. So of course the map is heavily imbalanced. However, as far as compactness and geography, just relative to that, it's actually not too bad of a map. Of course, there's going to be some cracking like we've seen. And some of these districts like here, not the absolute prettiest, but compared to other states like Texas, California, Illinois, or Virginia, the geography here is much better. I don't think Dems are really going to care about the geography if they're coming out with only 4 seats. But first, this map has to withstand some court challenges. Florida does have an anti-gerrymandering constitutional amendment. Of course, the court is stacked with DeSantis appointees, so you never know how that's going to go, but assuming the map stands, let's see what Larry Sabato shows for the new map. This is using the 24 presidential data, so it's the most recent, it's the highest turnout. And you can see the Dems would only win the 10th, the 20th, the 23rd, and the 24th. The 4 current Dems in danger would be Kathy Castor, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Jared Moskowitz, and Darren Soto. We don't know what they're going to do just yet, but they're going to be on the chopping block. These other 4 districts going to be super blue. Republicans never going to pick these up. And you can see the margins in the rest of these districts. Every one of them except the 25th is double digits voting for Trump. So that should be enough of a buffer for Republicans in most national environments. But this year could be pretty blue. So we can also look at the same thing for the 2020 margins. This might be closer to what we're going to expect for this November. Here the Dems could hold the 22nd as well as the 25th. Now, a lot of people have moved to the state. 26 is going to be different than 2020 for president. But if there's a big enough blue wave, Dems could hold on here in a couple of seats. Now, just a quick refresher on how red this state is. Here's the 24 presidential vote. Trump got it with 56% of the vote. Harris at 43. We've come a long way since this being the pinnacle swing state. If you go back to 2020, look at this margin. It's under 4% for Trump. So that was less than 6 years ago. That's got to give Republicans a little bit of pause on what could happen in redrawing this map. Now, if we go just to the U.S. House in the 24 election, Republicans had almost 58% of the vote, Dems at 42. Now, some of these seats might have had no Democrats or Republicans running, and that could skew these results. But just with this, Republicans controlled 71% of the seats, Dems at about 28.5%. If we go back to 22, Republicans actually had more here. They were over 58, Dems under 40. And back in 2020, Republicans with a 5% advantage. Now, if we come back to the new map, obviously on all these new congressional maps, they're all terribly imbalanced. But relative to that, where does this one rank? Well, if Republicans won 24 out of these 28 seats, that would be almost 86% of the seats. So that is way up there. It's terribly unfair. Without crunching the numbers, it's still not as imbalanced as the new Virginia map if that goes into effect. And the California map also going to be worse than this. The Texas map is also in the conversation, but Florida has now decided to throw their hat in the ring on trying to have the worst map. I think they would need to have one more Republican seat to really get to that level. But still, what can you say? A 20-8 map doesn't look too terrible now for the Dems after all. The state has gotten a lot redder. The geography on this map, not horrible like in some other states. But if this goes into effect, Republicans likely to pick up some seats here, could pick up all four, if not in 26, certainly in 28 or after. So we've really seen the gerrymandering go off the charts in the past year. And with the Supreme Court pretty much striking down racial gerrymandering, hopefully that ultimately leads to partisan gerrymandering being the thing that both parties can unite on wanting to tackle. That's a problem in red and blue states. It affects everybody. And now we see that it's going completely off the rails. So maybe now it's going to get a little bit worse before it ultimately gets better. Hopefully that's the case, because I think everybody's kind of tired of seeing these extreme maps. Both sides really want to get that partisan advantage, and we see it here in yet another map. So let's look at this Florida map and let me know in the comments. What do you think about it? Did Republicans go too far? Should they have tried to get even another seat out of it? What do you think of the geography? Is it going to stand at the next election? And what should happen with gerrymandering nationally? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.